Hello, brothers and sisters of the church. Well, it's a little bit late this evening. I'm well aware. I spent the better part of today cleaning out an old storage shed where Jeff and I had placed a number of trunks which had originally come from Belize. These were items that we once had shipped all the way back to the U.S. from Belize in 2007, planning on, or hopefully, being able to eventually send it to Nigeria. And now here we are, almost 20 years later, and we're opening up some boxes that were last seen 20 years ago in Belize. Now, as we open these boxes, there's some things that you're left with. Why did I pack that? Why did I keep this? And there's other things that you're like, wow, I had forgotten all about that. I didn't even remember that we had it. And then there's some items that I would pull out of a box and think, I've been looking for this for so many years. And here it was all along. You know, we oftentimes hold on to things that we need to let go of. And I'm not even meaning material objects. There's things in our heart and our mind that we need to be willing to release. There are so many obstacles that stand before us, yet there are also things, and this is the contradiction sometimes that we run into with Scripture, there's other things that we need to hold dear to. We don't need to forget. We need to remember. And I think of the stones of remembrance that were taken up out of the Jordan River and stood around so that the 12 stones could be seen by all. And it says that so that when your children ask, what is these stones for? What are they here for? You tell them about God's provision in the wilderness. You tell them about what God did at the Red Sea. You tell them about how God stopped up the Jordan. And yet, as these people pulled these stones out of the water to remember all the things that God had done for them, before them is another great battle. And not just one, but a multitude of battles. They erect the standing stones before the Battle of Jericho, before the Battle of Ai, before the battles and the wars that they would fight with the Canaanites and the Hittites and the Jebusites and the Amorites. And yet they trusted the Lord, and they had that to remember them, to remind them of. You know, I want you to remember this, and I had to write this down here. I didn't want to forget this part. You know, Paul writes in Philippians, forgetting what lies behind and straightening forward or straining forward to what lies ahead. So forget what's behind and strain forward to what's ahead. Yet, then I said, there's a little bit of contradiction there because we do have the stones of remembrance, but we can't always hold on to the things of the past. We do need to move forward. Isaiah says, do not call to mind the former things. Behold, I will do something new. So today, ask this. What do I release into God's hands, and what do I carry forward? I'm not saying that we don't have those treasures. As I said to you, there's some things that I unearthed that was like, wow, I've been looking for this, great memories. There's other things that it's like, why did I pack this? I remember the most absurd thing I believe that we pulled out today was when Jeff opened up a backpack that had an old container in it, plastic container, and inside of it was macaroni noodles. Macaroni noodles that are 20 years old. And if you would like to have those, you can go onto my eBay site. No, I'm just joking. I mean, is that not ridiculous? When we lived in Belize, we one time were helping a friend out that he had some friends of his who was moving into his community. And he said, hey, can y'all help me move these things? And we said, absolutely. So we went over and was helping unload this moving van full of this other family's objects. And as we're unloading it, I remember there being some very strange objects, rocks. I remember there being pieces of wood and And our friend said, you can always tell when somebody packs up their house in a hurry. He said they pack up everything and they bring things that they don't need. I wonder how that applies to our spiritual life. You can think about that today. I know I've been guilty of that. I know I've kept things that I didn't need to hold. What about the things that we're keeping in our mind that we don't need to hold on to? And what about the things that we need to remember? We shouldn't misplace them. We need to remember the promises of God and how He has filled those in our lives. Brothers and sisters, I hope and pray that you're having a blessed day, that your weekend goes well. I know we're just a day away from that. And till next week, God bless.